Have you ever walked into a room full of people, laughter echoing, glasses clinking, conversations flying like arrows, and felt nothing but the deep urge to leave? Not panic, not fear, but something quieter, something older, a strange sacred weariness, not of the body, but of the soul. If you've ever wondered why crowded rooms make you feel invisible, why small talk feels like static, or why your energy disappears the moment the door closes behind you, you're not broken. You're not antisocial. You're simply awake. This is Soul of Life, the place where we don't run from our silence. We study it. We honor it. Today, we'll explore a truth few people dare to name. Why you don't like being around people, and why that might mean you're closer to clarity than most. Let's begin. 1. You're not broken. You're built differently. From the very beginning, we're told that joy lives in crowds, that laughter must echo through rooms full of people, that friendship is measured by how many birthday parties you attend, that silence means something is wrong. But maybe silence is where you feel most right. You walk into a room and you don't just hear voices, you feel them. The loud laughter that doesn't quite reach the eyes. The hurried chatter, like people are trying to outrun themselves. You see the masks. You feel the tension behind the smiles. And something inside you whispers, "This isn't real." That whisper isn't bitterness. It's your inner compass pointing to something deeper. While the world thrives on speed and stimulation, you crave stillness. You want presence over performance, essence over noise. And for that, you've been told you're strange, too quiet, too serious, too distant. But let me say this clearly. You are not broken. You are simply tuned to a different frequency, one the world has forgotten how to hear. You don't reject connection. You reject the kind that's thin, rushed, and artificial. Because you know something most people don't. That real connection doesn't need volume. It needs truth. 2. Your mind values depth, not volume. You're not afraid of conversation. You're afraid of the kind that dies the moment it begins. The kind that floats on surfaces. Weather updates, weekend plans, jokes recycled from social media. Never daring to touch what matters. You crave something else entirely. Not more words, but truer ones. You long for dialogue that doesn't just pass time, but shifts it. Conversations that make the air still, that make your heart ache a little, that leave you changed. But most people, they talk just to avoid silence. You talk because silence taught you how rare truth is. So when you offer something real, an insight, a memory, a piece of your soul, and it's deflected with a joke or brushed aside with discomfort, you feel it like a door quietly closing. And you walk away, not bitter, not angry, just done. Because there's a difference between being social and being seen. You don't want to be liked by many. You want to be understood by a few. And if you can't find that, then solitude isn't a punishment. It's a sanctuary, where your thoughts aren't interrupted, where your inner world isn't diluted, where silence speaks more honestly than people ever do. 3. You've been hurt before and you remember. They say trust is the foundation of every connection. But for you, it's not a bridge, it's a battlefield. Because behind your quiet smile is a history most can't see. A catalog of moments when you let someone in and they left damage behind. Not always with cruelty, sometimes with absence. But absence can bruise just as deeply. You remember what it felt like to open your heart and be met with silence. To share your truth, only to watch someone walk away. To need someone and realize they never planned to stay. These weren't just emotional stumbles. They were lessons etched into your nervous system. So now, you listen for what's not being said. You pay attention to micro-expressions, subtle shifts in tone. You don't just hear words, you weigh them. And people call it cold, distant, guarded. But what they don't realize is this: you are not cold. You are cautious. You're not distant. You're discerning. You are not afraid of connection. You are afraid of wounding yourself again. And that fear isn't a flaw. It's intelligence forged in pain. To guard your heart after it's been broken is not weakness. It's sacred discipline. You haven't given up on people. You've just learned to observe before you offer. Because not everyone deserves access to the most honest parts of you. 4. You're tired of people who drain your light. Not all presence is nourishment. Some people walk into a room and bring warmth. Others, they dim the air. And the truth is, you spent too long giving your light to people who only took. You know the type. The talkers who never ask how you're doing. The ones who turn every conversation into a monologue, every story into theirs. The ones who say, "I'm just being honest," but leave you feeling smaller after every word. You've smiled through dinners that felt like performance. You've sat beside people who drained your energy just by being mere. And the worst part? You told yourself it was normal. That friendship meant endurance. That kindness meant staying. But now you know better. Energy is sacred, and not everyone deserves yours. You don't avoid people because you hate connection. You avoid people because you've learned the difference between presence and weight. Some people lighten the room. Others sit in it like fog. So now, when you leave early or say no to that gathering, it's not rejection. It's preservation. You've spent too much time feeling exhausted after conversations that should have lifted you. Now, you choose your company the way you choose your food. Not for convenience, but for nourishment. Because peace isn't just found in solitude. It's found in selectivity. 5. You don't feel less than. You feel too much. Sometimes it's not the world that rejects you. It's the voice in your head whispering you're not enough, not smart enough, not interesting enough, not relaxed or witty or charismatic enough. You walk into a room and feel the invisible weight of comparison. You rehearse lines before speaking. You replay them afterward, wondering if you sounded awkward. You notice every furrowed brow, every long pause, every glance that doesn't linger. This isn't vanity. This isn't insecurity. This is the high cost of awareness. You feel too much. You notice too deeply. You hold every interaction like glass, fragile, reflective, easily broken. And over time, the burden of that sensitivity becomes exhaustion. It's easier to stay quiet than risk being misunderstood. Easier to be alone than constantly wonder if you're too much or not enough. But here's what you need to remember. That voice in your head isn't yours. It was planted by moments of rejection, offhand remarks, a lifetime of subtle dismissal. And it's lying to you. You are not too sensitive. You are attuned. You are not socially awkward. You are deeply thoughtful. You don't shrink from others because you lack worth. You pause because you value truth and you're tired of wasting it. So if the room feels too loud, too fast, too fake, maybe it's not that you don't belong. Maybe it's that you were never meant to blend in, but to see through. 6, you're not avoiding life, you're healing from it. Let's be honest. Sometimes you cancel plans not because you're lazy, but because your nervous system is tired. Tired from years of overstimulation. Tired from past social wounds you never had time to process. Tired from showing up in rooms where you had to wear a version of yourself that didn't feel true. And so now, when the invitation arrives, when the group chat lights up, when the doorbell rings, you feel that subtle clench in your chest. That's not social anxiety. That's self-protection. It's your body remembering every time you betrayed your own boundaries just to fit in. It's your soul saying, "Not this time." The world often mistakes healing for isolation, but they're not the same. Isolation is a prison. Healing is a pause. And right now, you're not hiding. You're regenerating. You're peeling away the noise, the performance, the obligations, so you can finally hear your own voice again. This season of solitude is not your downfall, it's your becoming. Because the truth is, you're not withdrawing from life. You're stepping back from what isn't life. The noise, the pretending, the self-abandonment, and you're coming home to the quiet truth that's been waiting inside you all along. 7. Society is too loud for those who listen deeply. You weren't made for this speed. This age of instant replies, constant pings, 24-hour updates, where silence is seen as awkward and stillness mistaken for weakness. But you hear what others miss. The tension behind a smile, the fatigue behind someone's "I'm fine," the disconnection beneath all the noise. And because you notice too much, you feel too much. And because you feel too much, the world feels louder than it should. It's not just the volume of voices, it's the pressure to smile faster, talk more, post often, stay relevant, stay connected. Stay on. But what if connection wasn't constant messaging? What if relevance wasn't performing for strangers? What if wisdom meant knowing when to leave the room? Not out of rudeness, but out of reverence for your own peace. You weren't born to survive in chaos. You were born to sense beauty in the quiet pause between words. To feel truth ripple beneath what's said. To listen, not just to others, but to the hum of your own soul. And so, society might call you distant, disengaged, different. But maybe that's the price of awareness in a world addicted to distraction. You don't withdraw because you're weak. You withdraw because your depth has no place in shallow waters. 8. Alone does not mean empty. There's a lie we've all been told, that solitude equals sadness, that to be alone is to be lacking, that without constant companionship, something must be missing. But what if being alone is not emptiness, but clarity? Think about it. When was the last time you truly heard your own thoughts, without the background noise of someone else's opinions, demands, or expectations? When you're alone, you stop performing. You stop managing impressions. You stop diluting yourself just to be understood. And in that space, what's left? Not loneliness, but honesty. The books you never finished, the thoughts you never voiced, the dreams you put on hold because the world kept pulling you away from yourself. Being alone isn't a void. It's a return to presence, to alignment, to the version of you that doesn't need approval to exist. You walk in the quiet not because there's nowhere else to go, but because that's where your soul finally exhales. You spent years believing that being surrounded means being fulfilled, but now you understand the most powerful connection you'll ever build is with yourself. 9. Closing thoughts. The quiet act of rebellion. In a world that glorifies noise, your silence is an act of courage. In a culture that praises constant visibility, your choice to disappear, to be still, to listen inward, is nothing short of rebellion. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're not too sensitive for this world. You're simply awake to the truth that most people spend a lifetime avoiding. The truth that not all connection is healing. That solitude can be sacred. That the deepest conversations are often the ones you have with yourself. So no, your desire to withdraw isn't a flaw. It's your soul choosing depth over distraction. And the next time someone asks, "Why don't you like being around people?" smile gently and say, "Because I've learned to enjoy being around myself." That answer might confuse them, or awaken something they've forgotten how to feel. Either way, stay with it, because this world doesn't need more noise. It needs more truth. And if this message found its way to you today, maybe it's because you were already searching for it. So if something in you stirred, resonated, or simply felt seen, consider leaving a comment. Even just a word. Sometimes one honest sentence changes everything. And if you'd like to keep walking this quiet road with us, subscribe. This is Soul of Life, where silence speaks louder than noise. Until next time, be still, be true, be home.